The sub 4 meter segment in India is really one of those segments which is red hot at the moment. And there should be a reason for it, because aspiration wise it comes slam bang in the middle from the hatchback category, the low end A and A plus segments, and then you have got the C class sedans. This finds a terrific bridge for many people to get to very easily, thanks to democratization which has brought to the matter by EMIs. And when you look at so many cars being bought by EMI, it becomes very manifest for manufacturers to go in this segment to deliver a car which is as compact as a hatch, but with a little bit of a look of a sedan with a boot tagged on at the back. We have got 5 of India's hottest selling cars here. All 5 cars make up this segment. The Suzuki Swift Dzire is the kingpin of the lot. The Hyundai Xcent is its nearest challenger from a numbers point of view. Then we have got the new Tata Zest, which really speaking its predecessor started this compact 4 meter segment. Top it all, then Honda moved into the fray with its excellent Amaze, which is really surprising even right now to its rivals, followed by the newest Ford on the block, which is all about aspire and aspirations. This program, the Compact Diesel Dhamaka from Zeegnition, is trying to make sense about the strengths, weaknesses of all the 5 cars. They are competent in every way. I think it's important that we start about going through all these 5 cars with a fine comb with all our colleagues at Zeegnition.
Now, with most buyers in this segment looking for one of 3 things, mainly ride and handling, comfort and features, and that all-encompassing question of kitna deti hai, we've got it all covered. Before we break down things on those parameters, let's take a good look at the cars in terms of their design and how they look. The Maruti Swift Dzire has been around for a while now, and though it's not a fresh face, it still rules the compact sedan segment. Its looks are something that grow on you over time and are definitely a step above the regular size Dzire. But when it comes to looking good, there are other better options in this segment now. The Xcent is Hyundai's take on what a compact sedan should be. In terms of the way it looks, it may remind you of the Grand i10 from the front, but look beyond that and the Xcent does begin to endure. It may not be the most stylish car in this segment, but comes across as a good balance of both worlds. Tata Zest is a new approach on how Tata wants to make its cars. Thanks to their design next efforts, the Zest has come across as a good-looking and modern interpretation of Tata's design philosophy, with lots of design elements looking much more upmarket than anything they've done before. The booted version of the Brio hatchback, the Amaze, may not hold the sporty appeal of its competition, but it's a no-nonsense and smartly put-together compact sedan. The boot is well integrated, and overall there may be better cars in terms of design, but the Amaze has other tricks up its sleeve to impress customers. Tricks that we'll get into soon enough. The latest entrant in this segment, the Aspire, is without a doubt the best looker of the lot. Ford's design team has done a splendid job on the Aspire, giving it visual and on-road appeal like none other in this class. Of course, looks are subjective and to each his own. But how do these rivals stand off when it comes to the way they put their power down and ride on Indian roads?
The Swift Dzire is the epitome of what is best about the sub 4 meter sedan segment. And when I say best, it's because it is the car which sells the most, delights the most, is also competent in practically every area of operation. It holds its own against all the newcomers. It is proven, reliable, and the ride and quality is on par with what consumers expect from a class of car like this. Trouble is, it's a familiar face, so all the newcomers definitely do make an impression, whereas this is a car which is so very much in the eyes of so many people, considering it sells to the tune of almost 18 to 20,000 units a month and has been doing so quite regularly now for a few years. The Zest is an indication of how well Tata Motors has marked its climb back in the reckoning, because in a pantheon of cars from the global car makers, she is impeccable in the ride quality aspect, as many Tata Motors offerings have done and proven over the years. But she also marries a decently handling chassis. Then the only sore spot could be the dull and lifeless steering at slow speed. Apart from that, she is very solid, well planted, and in fact, this sort of a aspect about being planted and also having that safe, forgiving feel to it marks it out very, very well. The Xcent makes a very strong case for itself as far as the ride quality is concerned, and for cars of this nature, this ingredient is of paramount importance. It shades the ride, the handling characteristics, because in the families which require such cars, comfort and convenience, comfort over everything matters. But she's a decent handler also. Steering is good. It's very progressive. It doesn't need to be razor sharp or very quick, because that's not the application intended for such vehicles. And in all aspects, overall, for the general commute, for the long haul, or even for short dashes, this car does admirably well in a very nonchalant manner. And I think that's a true measure of how well she's engineered. The Honda is one of those cars where much is expected of it in the ride and handling stakes. So when we talk about handling, she's pretty good given the tires she runs on. On the ride quality aspect, there is some issue. We are very comfortable front and rear, everything is spot on, well-damped drive, but it's the tire roar which comes from beneath the floor, and I think that is where the Honda loses out on cars like even the Hyundai and the Suzuki Dzire. But barring that, this I feel is one of the most sorted out cars. And also, let's not forget, she's also the lightest car of the lot. All in all, the Amaze has the potential and the capability to deliver the goods in this department of a very high order. Fords have always been known for the pleasure to drive aspect, but in the Figo Aspire, the engineers have got this sussed out very, very well. There is a modicum of that pleasure aspect to the handling. She still tracks firm, true, body control is good, but the comfort and the quality of the ride, whether you are seated behind the steering wheel or elsewhere in the back or in the front passenger seat, is of a very superlative order. Also, of course, throw in the steering, which is also that nth degree better, just that notch better than its rivals in its class. And overall, I think in this regard, where all the good work of the mechanicals has to be translated to the road and in a very feel-good manner, it's a hard task for us to choose between the Amaze on one side, the Aspire on the other, or even the Swift Dzire, as to which is the one car I'd put my money on. In fact, this is one class of car where every one of the 5 performers are so closely matched. It only becomes a point of debate when you take in the levels or the areas of excellence of each car vis-a-vis the rest of them, and then you see which areas of excellence do matter in the Indian way of motoring. That is the key pointer to what would be the car of the segment for you or me or for anyone else. I think every car has it in it to delight that particular application for that particular consumer.
While the Ford Aspire and the Honda Amaze took top honors in the driving pleasure field, there are a lot of other factors that help seal the buying decision. With so much time spent inside the cabin, what do these 5 cars have to offer when it comes to space, backseat comfort, and features? And will this department help the Zest, Dzire, and the Xcent get those much needed points?
The whole point of these compact sedans is to have a step up from the small compact hatchbacks that dominate our market. And with these bigger sedans, you get more space. And what's the better way of testing this extra space than having 2 of our biggest guys on the team, me and my colleague Kurt, to check out how the cars feel from the inside. Now I'm sitting inside the Dzire. This is the car that pretty much spawned the compact car segment. after the Indigo CS, of course. And it's a very good place to be in. It's quite comfortable. I like the fitments. It's a very good looking car, and the space up front is quite good. And to speak about the space in the back, I've got Kurt back here. So Kurt, what do you say?
PD, I think I'm stuck.
So now moving on from the car that pretty much dominates this segment to the latest entrant in this segment, the new Ford Figo Aspire. And immediately you can feel that it's a step up in the right direction. It's a very modern looking interior, typical of all new Fords these days. And it's a very good place to be in. It's very comfortable. And of course, as soon as you get into the driver's seat, you know that this was built by people who know how to make good handling cars. The seats are very well bolstered. The steering wheel is fantastic to hold. And it's just a nice car to be in, very plush and very nice. What do you say, Kurt?
Yes, PD. The Ford definitely feels luxurious and plush on the inside compared to the other 4 cars we have on test here today. Also, speaking in terms of space, it also feels on par with the Hyundai Xcent as well as the Tata Zest. Also, this is packed with tech, right?
It is. And one of my favorite bits of technology in this car is something called Ford My Key. Now, it basically is a set of 2 keys, a regular standard flip key that you've got with the remote, and the other thing you've got is this one little baby key for someone younger in your family. And what you can do is you can set the car up to not exceed a certain speed limit, for the audio to not exceed a certain volume when using the smaller key. So it's something to keep your kids in check. Now whether kids like it or not, we don't know, but I think it's a cool piece of tech to have. So we are finally driving the Honda Amaze, and I'll be very honest, I think it's definitely a notch above the rest of the cars when it comes to the interiors of this car. I mean, it's very well put together. Yes, the plastics are a bit tacky compared to the Hyundai Accent, but there's nothing to fault in the overall fit and finish. It's just very nicely, tightly put together. It's also got a lot of equipment. Yes, it doesn't have climate control, but it's got a touchscreen entertainment unit, which is quite functional, quite useful. And the car is just very spacious, very roomy. I've got lots of room up here. The seats are very nice, very comfortable. And this doesn't apply only for the front, it also applies to the back. What do you say, Kurt?
Yes, PD. The back seat of the Amaze is really spacious, with loads of headroom and knee room, thanks to these amazing front seats that have a really slim backrest that offer tons of knee room. Overall, it's way ahead of the competition.
I think this is our winner when it comes to interiors, no?
Definitely, it really takes the cake.
With the Ford Aspire coming out on top in this department as well as in terms of how it drives, puts it in the clear for now. The Amaze also isn't too far behind. But what about boot space? After all, any buyer in this segment is surely going to look for a good amount of storage.
Now when it comes to space, the interiors are not the be-all and end-all of things. When you're buying a compact sedan, you're of course buying them for the boots. And the segment leader here, the Maruti Dzire, has the tiniest boot with just 315 litres. Now in this lot that we have got here, the absolute benchmark in this department has been set by the Hyundai Xcent, a whopping 407 litres. Now that's a boot or what?
We've driven these 5 diesel compact sedans, taken a look at which is the most comfortable and which has the biggest boot. But how much can they stretch out of a litre of fuel? While this class averages fuel efficiency that's quite similar, the key is finding which is the most fuel efficient while offering good performance as well.
All these 5 cars, the Aspire, the Zest, the Amaze, the Xcent and the Dzire, by and large have the same fuel consumption figures. They range between 23 kilometers to a litre and 26 kilometers to a litre. The question is that which is the most fuel efficient? Don't forget one thing, 2 cars out of this, the Aspire and the Amaze, develop 100 bhp and the Zest develops 90 bhp. The least powerful are the Xcent and the Dzire, which are around 72 and 75 bhp. The question is that whether you get better consumption because of the smaller engine, not necessarily so. Here it appears that the fuel consumption is in a better shape as far as the Aspire is concerned and the Amaze is concerned. Also, the fact remains that the Dzire has an edge over all these in spite of having a very small engine, but then it becomes a function of mapping. What is really important is that all these consumption figures ultimately are governed by the actual scene where the car is being driven, how it's being driven and who is driving it. But all said and done, overall, these subcompact, the sub 4 meter sedans are definitely very, very fuel efficient, and that's exactly what they're meant for.
With all parameters looked at with the BDI, it was time to catch up and once and for all settle the debate as to which one sticks its head above the rest.
5 different cars in the most cutthroat segment in the country, and my colleagues along with our backup teams have really put pedal to the metal, but also used a lot of brain power to go with the brawn. And I start with PD because PD, you have what you call looked at the packaging aspect in the car, so let's hear it from you as to which car did it in that department.
Especially when it comes to the interior packaging of the vehicles, I think if you look at the overall package, the Amaze really amazes. As in, it is the most spacious. It is very well put together.
So what about you? Because you were hogging the rear seats of all the cars. So how did it feel at the back seat?
So as you pointed out, Adil, we really found among this compact sedan lot, the Xcent had the best posture at the back. Thighs were well supported, and it was the only car that featured a rear aircon vent, especially on a day like today. It blessed us. But also factor in the Honda Amaze really stuns you with the space, and the slim front seats really help you with the knee room.
Okay, what about you, Sam? Because you are the stylish lot amongst us, very aerodynamic and whatnot. So let us know what turned it on for you from a design style perspective of these cars.
For me, 2 cars were out because of chopping and addition. Then it was a fight between the 3. There was load to aspire, but then PD got amazed, but I was not amazed because I was hoping that it is not going to surprise me that much, and it is amazed. Just buy a whisker, that takes the cake.
Kaka, you have been the one who's really going through the gears, trying to eke out everything from performance to fuel efficiency to drivability, and throwing at us a lot of facts and figures. Forget about facts and figures. Tell me in a nutshell, which cars can definitely cut the mustard on our roads as far as their entire fuel efficiency to performance package is concerned?
Well, as far as consumption is concerned, the Maruti Dzire is really more fuel efficient than the rest of them. But the fact is that it is not only the fuel efficiency, Adil, the overall performance, and that includes the acceleration, the handling, everything, the power delivery and all that. And if you consider everything as a package, then you find that the Ford Aspire, the Honda Amaze and the Tata Zest are cut above the rest. But yes, to a certain extent, and that margin is very, very small, which is half a mark as far as we are concerned. That means that it's very difficult to really pinpoint that who is going to take the cake out of these 5 cars. But when you consider them in totality, I think the Ford Aspire and the Amaze stand at the top.
In summation, let's look at it in this way. The Amaze has been consistent, always there right at it. The numbers which is doing every month is something which Hyundai should be really worried upon. And given the fact that the Figo Aspire follows in the footsteps or the tire treads of the Amaze, is also a good sign for Maruti to rethink its Swift Dzire, because that's a great car. The numbers it does are something which any manufacturer in this day and age would like to give his arm and a leg for. Overall, Tata Zest has helped the company overcome its legacy issues, and it is a damn good performer. Of course, it can do with a little bit more refinement, but having said that, the way it comes across all guns blazing is fantastic for our homegrown manufacturer. Every one of us knows that it is absolutely that fine degree of performance from one to the other which determines the areas of excellence for all these 5 cars in different characteristics when we go through it with a fine comb. In this aspect, all the cars have their areas of excellence. Some cars have more areas of excellence compared to some the laggards at that thing, but they are tightly bunched. My summation would be the Amaze continues to set the pace. The Aspire is a very logical rival next to it. The real surprise is the Zest, which is planted slam bang in the middle, which is saying quite a lot for it. Nothing to take away from the Hyundai Xcent or the Swift Dzire, but these are the old war horses which made this segment. It is a segment which does about 60 to 70,000 units a month. 30,000 units come from just the Dzire and the Xcent, but now the others are really piling on that critical mass. We have to see how these other three redress the balance of power from these two which hog the limelight. That I think the market will tell us going forward.